Welcome to the Just Nuke It podcast.
Yeah.
This week we are launching an apocalyptic probe
Oh, yeah.
into two gripping flash fiction stories that paint, pretty stark pictures of survival in the face of some major catastrophes.
Yeah.
Get ready for some action-packed scenarios and thought-provoking glimpses into, what makes humanity tick when things go really south.
Right.
Make sure to rate and follow the show for more captivating stories from the Just Nuke It podcast.
Absolutely.
So right off the bat,
Yeah.
it's really interesting to think about these two very different, flavors of apocalypse
Oh, yeah.
that we get in these flash fiction stories.
Right.
Like you have this one that's a swift and silent end to like the whole technological world.
Right.
And then this other one that's like this drawn out watery demise.
Oh, yeah.
But both of them just strip away everything familiar in these like really profound ways that, it makes you think about what really matters
It really does.
when it comes to survival.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right into our first apocalyptic probe,
Okay.
The Static Whispers Hope.
Okay, cool.
All right, so picture this. A massive EMP blast.
Right.
And boom, everything goes quiet.
Wow.
No more phones, no internet, nothing. It's just silence.
Yeah.
And in this sudden silence, we meet Micah.
Micah. Okay.
Now, before all this went down,
Yeah.
Micah was kind of an outsider
Okay.
because he had like this extreme sensitivity to noise.
Oh.
So, loud sounds, crowds, all that like really bothered him.
Yeah, I can see that.
But now, in this eerily silent world, his attic, which is like crammed with all this old radio equipment,
Okay.
becomes like the most important place
Interesting.
on the whole planet. It's wild, right?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder,
Okay.
about all those skills and things that we might think are like quirky or niche, and how they could become essential when everything changes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it, right?
Yeah.
Micah's sensitivity to noise. Something that was, kind of a burden for him before. Well, now it allows him to pick up the faintest signals in all that static.
Yeah.
Sounds that most people wouldn't even hear.
Totally.
It really throws you into that question, right? Like,
Huh.
what seemingly insignificant skill or piece of forgotten knowledge
Right.
might just be the key to survival in some crazy, unforeseen crisis?
Yeah, that's a great point. And then things get even weirder.
Okay, how so?
So Micah starts picking up these really faint, garbled signals on his radio.
Okay.
But here's the thing. These aren't like echoes of the past, They're
Wow.
like snippets of future broadcasts.
What? From the future?
Yeah. It's crazy, right? It's
Yeah.
like, imagine getting these fragments of what's to come,
Wow.
in a world that feels like it's already ended.
I mean, that's mind-blowing.
Right. And these transmissions are like bits and pieces of information, dates, coordinates, like desperate pleas for help.
Oh, wow.
All these things that paint this really chilling picture of a future that's like still struggling to survive.
It's got to be like trying to assemble a puzzle
Uh-huh.
where half the pieces are missing
Exactly.
and the picture keeps changing on you.
It's like a constantly shifting puzzle.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned it's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
It really is. And what's, I think, even more compelling is like how uncertain all this information from the future is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like some clear-cut instruction manual
Right.
for how to survive.
Yeah.
It's fractured, open to all these different interpretations,
Mm-hmm.
and, potentially even misleading.
Yeah.
So it really makes you wonder, like, how would you actually act on something like that?
That is a really good question. It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because this story really digs into this psychological dilemma
Uh-huh.
these survivors are dealing with, trying to balance hope with the very real possibility
Right.
that they could be acting on false information.
Ex-
Or, like you said, incomplete information.
Yeah. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then you've got Micah,
Okay.
this kid who, all he cared about before was like tinkering with radios.
Mhm.
Suddenly he's got this unbelievable knowledge, this
From-
potential glimpse into what's coming next.
Yeah.
And he's not, some kind of seasoned leader or anything.
Yeah.
He's just a kid in his attic.
A kid with a radio.
Yeah. And we see him making these like clumsy first broadcasts
Uh-huh.
powered by this like jury-rigged car battery,
Oh, wow.
just trying to make something work.
Yeah.
And then there's this moment, this first sign
Hey,
that someone out there is actually listening.
Okay.
It's a distant, fire signal.
A fire signal.
Yeah.
Answering his call.
Answering his call.
Wow.
That's powerful, right?
Yeah, that's really powerful.
Just thinking about what does that, like, simple act of lighting a fire in the darkness, what does that say about us? You know, about our need to connect with others even after everything's gone wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that image of the fire signal, it's not just about hearing, is it?
No.
It's like this deliberate act of communication,
Yeah.
showing that you're there and you're listening.
It's about connection.
It is. It's about sharing this experience with someone else, right? Even when the world's fallen apart.
Yeah. And it really, I think, speaks to, you know, how social creatures we are at our core.
Yeah.
Even when we're forced into the most extreme isolation.
Right.
There's still this urge to reach out, to find someone else.
To connect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And from that one little spark, you know, the fire signal, this whole fragile network of other, like, radio enthusiasts starts to form.
Yeah.
They're all, like, clinging to the static, hoping to hear something, anything.
Right.
And Micah, he becomes this, like, unlikely central point.
Okay.
His attic is now this makeshift control room in this silent war they're fighting, you know?
Yeah.
Against time.
Against time and, uncertainty.
Yeah, exactly. But then, you know, think about the challenges. Like, you have these future signals, right?
Uh-huh.
They're fading in and out.
Right.
It's not a clear connection.
Uh-huh.
And then there's always that risk
Oof.
that these warnings from the future could be, like, twisted and used by people for, like, bad reasons.
Oh, yeah.
For their own personal gain.
Absolutely.
And then on top of that, Micah's got this huge weight of responsibility.
Yeah.
Because more and more survivors, they're flocking to his attic.
Wow.
Drawn by these whispers of hope.
Right.
But their faces, you know, they're all etched with hardship.
Yeah.
They've been through so much.
It's not just about the information itself, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about the impact.
Yeah.
On all these people.
Yeah, it's like managing the human element of this whole thing.
Absolutely. The hopes and fears.
Yeah.
All tied to these, like, whispers from the future.
It's a lot to deal with. And then things take this dark turn.
What they?
This new voice cuts through the static.
Another voice.
Yeah. But this one, it's different. It's cold.
Okay.
Commanding. Offering order. But at a price. Obedience.
Oh, wow. So, like, follow me and I'll give you structure kind of thing.
Exactly. This entity, it knows about Micah.
Okay.
It knows about the broadcasts. And it wants to use Micah's connection to the future for, like, its own gain.
So it wants to control the future.
Yeah, that's when things get really dangerous. It's not just about, like, scraping by anymore. It's about actively resisting this new form of control.
Right.
Control that uses information, hope, as a weapon.
Yeah. That's terrifying. Think about it.
I know, it's heavy.
Yeah.
How would you react if you were in Micah's shoes, knowing someone's out there, trying to manipulate the very hope you're offering to people?
That's a tough one. I mean, what I find really unsettling about this new voice is that it's like this whole different kind of antagonist.
Right.
It's not like a natural disaster, you know, or some desperate survivor.
Right.
This is an entity that understands how powerful information is.
Yeah.
And it wants to control it.
To hoard it.
To hoard it.
Yeah. For itself.
Exactly. I think the story really touches on how even when society collapses, the threat of authoritarianism,
it never really goes away.
It never goes away.
Yeah.
And it shows how easily those tools of hope can be twisted, turned into instruments of control.
It's a scary thought.
It is.
And so, facing this threat, Micah and his network, they decide to make this one last defiant broadcast.
Oh, wow.
They don't just reveal the enemy's location and intentions, though.
What do?
They broadcast their own future.
Their own future.
Yeah, the battles they've lost.
Oh, wow.
The promises that have been broken.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And then silence. They scatter into this desolate landscape. It's a really powerful ending, but bleak too.
Yeah, it's really thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Makes you think about the impact, right? Even if they don't, like, win right away, did they make a difference?
That's the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, did their message get through?
Right.
Did it plant a seed somewhere?
Yeah.
We don't know for sure.
And I think that, that ambiguity about what ultimately happens to them, it's like a really important part of the story.
I agree.
Because it suggests that even when it looks like you've lost, speaking truth to power, it can still have these like long-lasting effects.
Right, effects that you might not even see.
Exactly. It's pretty profound.
Yeah, it is.
So, okay. Ready for our second apocalyptic probe?
I am, yeah. Hit me.
All right, this one takes us to a completely different kind of end. A world completely swallowed by like relentlessly rising sea levels.
Oh, wow.
And the story we're diving into here is called Beneath the Waves.
Okay.
And it focuses on this last oceanic city called Arcadia.
Arcadia?
Yeah, and it's this like precarious metal structure that's just constantly battling the tide, just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah.
And our main character in this one, his name's Flynn.
Flynn, okay.
And he's this young diver, but he feels totally trapped inside the city.
Oh, wow. Trapped even though he's surrounded by water.
Yeah, it's ironic, isn't it?
It is.
But the only place he finds any kind of peace, any solace, is down in these like submerged maintenance tunnels.
Beneath the city.
Yeah, beneath the city.
That's interesting. So even though he's in a city built to withstand water, he still seeks escape in, like, the depths.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that feeling?
It's kind of claustrophobic, right?
Yeah, being surrounded by water even within the city. And still feeling this need to go deeper.
To find some space.
To find some space, yeah. I think it says something about how different people cope.
Yeah.
With confinement, with loss,
Absolutely. It's like Micah finds his sanctuary in the silence above.
Yeah.
And Flynn, he finds his in these depths below.
Right.
In a world that's still teeming with life.
Right.
But a very different and possibly dangerous kind of life.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It is. And it's during one of these like underwater escapes that Flynn makes this absolutely terrifying discovery.
What does he find?
He sees this eye.
An eye.
Yeah, but it's like glowing.
Glowing.
Yeah, like a bioluminescent moon, he describes it.
Oh, wow.
And then this tentacle.
Okay.
But it's huge.
Huge. Like how?
Like impossibly big.
Oh, wow.
Forget those old sea monster legends.
Yeah.
This is the real deal.
So what does he do?
Well, he tries to warn Arcadia's ruling council, of course.
Yeah.
Led by this guy, Elder Voss.
Elder Voss.
Yeah, but they basically just brush him off.
Oh, no.
They don't believe him. It's that classic story, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that movie.
The one person who sees the danger that nobody else wants to acknowledge.
Right.
It's frustrating, right?
Oh.
But I think what's going on there, what fuels that kind of denial in the face of a potential catastrophe.
Yeah.
It's interesting to unpack.
It is. If you try to put yourself in the council's position, you can kind of understand their reluctance, right? Even if it's misguided.
Yeah.
They're dealing with these constant, immediate threats to Arcadia's survival every single day.
Right.
They've got dwindling resources. They've
right.
got to worry about the structural integrity of the city.
Yeah.
So this idea of some, fantastical sea monster lurking in the depths, it probably feels like a distraction.
Right.
Like something too big and abstract to worry about when they have all these other pressing problems.
Right. It's a matter of priorities.
Yeah, and I think that's something this story highlights really well, right? That challenge of leadership during a crisis.
Right.
You have to figure out what needs your attention now.
Right now.
Versus what can maybe wait a little bit.
Exactly. And in this case, they don't believe Flynn.
So what happens?
So they basically force him to go back down.
Oh, no.
To prove it.
Back into the depths.
Back into the depths, yeah.
Oh, man.
So he goes on this dive. It's like a total nightmare scenario.
Oh, wow.
This close encounter with this creature. It's massive.
I bet.
But, in this moment of just like pure desperation, and I think bravery too.
Yeah.
He manages to lure the creature away from the city.
Away from Arcadia.
Yeah, into the deepest part of the abyss.
Wow. That took some guts.
Yeah, it did. And you'd think, right,
he
basically just saved Arcadia. So he comes back a hero.
Makes sense.
But that's not what happens.
Really?
No, instead, what Flynn sees is how vulnerable Arcadia really is.
Okay.
And it sparks this like new determination in him.
Okay.
He realizes a temporary fix isn't enough.
Right.
He needs to figure out like the root of the problem.
So he starts investigating.
Yeah, he starts this secret investigation.
On his own.
Yeah, driven by this knowledge that this threat, it's not gone.
Just delayed.
Just delayed.
Okay.
And his investigation leads him to, like, the council's archives. It's like a hidden library of Arcadia's history.
Wow.
And he finds out about this ancient underwater facility.
Underwater facility.
Yeah. And the truth about where this creature came from.
Whoa, this is where it gets juicy.
It does. It's a huge twist because guess what? This creature, it's not natural.
Okay.
It's this, like, horrifying fusion of marine life and discarded technology.
What's a junk?
Junk, yeah, like scrap metal, old electronics.
No way.
Yeah, basically Arcadia created this monster.
They created their own problem.
They did. They weren't just victims of, like, a changing world or whatever.
Right.
They engineered their own destruction.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's heavy stuff.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it makes you think, you know.
About what?
About all the unintended consequences of our technological advancements.
Yeah, we don't always know what we're messing with.
We don't.
And the scariest part.
Yeah.
Sometimes those consequences, they come back to bite us.
Yeah, hard. And I think, you know, this part of the story where we find out how the creature was created, it adds this whole layer of, like, tragic irony to Arcadia's situation because they're fighting these rising tides, right? That are literally drowning their city. But they're also facing the consequences of their own actions.
Their own hubris.
Exactly. This story, it's like a warning, right?
A warning about what?
That our attempts to control and manipulate nature, they can have these, like, totally unexpected and devastating results.
They really can.
So Flynn, you know, he's got this proof now.
Right.
Irrefutable proof about where the creature came from. And he goes back to the council.
Okay.
But Elder Voss, he's still so focused on just surviving.
Oh, wow. He's not listening?
No, he's not really processing the bigger picture.
Okay.
And this is what leads to Flynn's, like, big moment.
Oh, what's that?
He makes this, like, really defiant call to action.
Okay.
He doesn't just want to fight the monster.
Okay.
He wants to abandon Arcadia.
Whoa.
Completely.
Yeah. Abandon the city.
Yeah, before it sinks and takes everyone with it.
That's a big call.
It is. So it makes you think, right?
About what?
About how hard it must be to be a leader in a crisis, to make those tough choices.
Yeah, especially when the right choice might mean, like, giving up on everything you've been fighting for.
Exactly. Like letting go of what you thought was your only hope.
It's hard to let go.
It is.
You know, and I think Voss's refusal to even consider what Flynn is saying, it shows how powerful those, like, deeply held beliefs and narratives can be.
Yeah.
It's really tough to admit that you might have been wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Especially when everything's falling apart around you.
It's like you cling to what you know.
Exactly.
Even if it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, the big question the story asks us to wrestle with.
What's that?
When does our focus on just surviving, on getting through the day, blind us to the bigger dangers?
To the things we might not want to see.
Exactly.
And Flynn, he's forcing them to confront this uncomfortable truth.
Yeah.
That sometimes survival means letting go.
Yeah.
Letting go of everything you know.
And stepping into the unknown.
Into the unknown.
So, wow. I mean, two pretty intense end-of-the-world scenarios we just explored.
Yeah, for sure.
In The Static Whispers Hope, we saw the power of human connection, right?
Yeah.
And information in a world where all our technology, it's just gone.
Gone.
And in Beneath the Waves, we saw these really scary consequences of unchecked ambition, right? And how those hidden secrets can lead to, like, a completely different kind of apocalypse.
A watery one.
A watery one. But you know what? I think what really stands out to me is how resilient the human spirit is.
Oh, yeah.
In both of these stories.
Absolutely.
You've got Micah finding purpose in all that silence, and Flynn driven to uncover the truth.
Yeah.
Even when it's dangerous.
Yeah, even when it's terrifying.
Exactly.
It makes you think, you know, what kind of inner strength it takes to face these huge, overwhelming situations.
To keep fighting, even when all hope seems lost.
Yeah.
It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, these flash fiction stories might be short, but man, they really pack a punch.
They do.
Don't they? They make you think about survival, about hope.
about the things we take for granted.
Yeah, and about all the things that